there any Andrew you caught up in the Tigers sensation right now?
Been an absolute diehard the last week or two. Yeah.
Have you always been a big Tigers fan too, or?
I don't know about big. Like, I think back when I played baseball, probably paid attention a little bit more. I did go to the first playoff game at Comerica Park against the Yankees, though. That was cool. But yeah, I think everyone, not just the local guys, I think everyone's pulling pretty hard for him in the locker room. So it's pretty cool what's going on.
What have you seen out of Danielson so far?
Yeah, I just like even from last year, just a really smart player, guy that knows where to be, knows how to move the puck. I think you can tell that he's put on a little bit of muscle, a little bit of mass since last time I saw him this time last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays, in the preseason games because you definitely see it's there. It's just a matter of time for him. So excited to see what he can do. Both in center and on the wing.
It feels like we talk a lot about how prospects need to put on weight and get a little bigger to play in the NHL. And I'm curious, as someone who once made that transition into the NHL, how really important is it to be of a size where you can compete with more older players?
It kind of depends on the player, honestly. There's some guys that it does not matter, and there's some guys where it matters a lot. It's kind of how you use it a little bit, There's those really super strong, wiry 180 guys, and then there's those 210 guys that are, kind of easy to push around. So it's all about, how you move with it, how you, can handle contact, all that. Like it's like I said, you see wiry 180, you see guys that know where to be, know how to play, and Danny's probably one of those where whether he's 195 or 180, like it might not make a huge difference, but I think injury prevention in the long run, like 180 is probably not sustainable for him, but at the same time, like could he play for a little bit at that weight? I'm sure he could.
Is there a kind of an art once you kind of get into the league of learning how your leverage points work versus how they don't?
Yeah, I think that's any sport, anywhere. Like, I think, you look at Patrick Mahomes versus, some other guys that are maybe a little bit stiffer. Like, that guy can contort his body like no one, and he moves so well, never misses a thing. And then there's other guys that are, maybe throw the ball harder than him or, are, 6'6", 240, but they can't move like he can move. So, that's just a one-off example that everyone can relate to.
As an athlete, is that something where you kind of learn that?
Yeah, that's an ever-evolving.
Yeah.
You're always learning, always trying to, move a certain way, and feel like that's. There's a lot of onions behind that, or a lot of layers behind that onion. So you better be ready to dive in deep if you're going that far.
Andrew, how much of an advantage does it give a young player when you come in with a kind of hockey IQ and 200-foot game?
I mean, that's everything, Like, it's the hockey, as much as it is fast and skilled and skating, if you're a smart player, you can play for a long time. And I think that's, the most important attribute in a hockey player is your brain. And so when you see guys like that come in and know where to be, know how to play within a system, know, when to not deviate, that's not the right word, but instinctually make plays with the puck, and without the puck getting to the right areas. That's the most important thing in hockey.
Andrew, where do you think you guys can build on last year as you?
I think there's areas in our, whether it's transition defense or PK, or like there's some little tweaks that I think we'll be able to build on, I think. And then I think mentality-wise, it's I feel like it's kind of our time now, Like, I think we made a really nice push at the end of the year and, maybe deserved to be in, maybe didn't. But I think that push kind of gave us a lot of confidence going into this year that it's our time. And I think the lesson learned through that is, the very, very small margin, like, one play here, one play there could have been the difference. And, I think we truly understand how small, how razor thin the margin of error is.
I know that's kind of a hard thing to quantify, but like, what is the impact of that kind of mentality change?
Maybe it's a dog day in January where we have a good practice, and then that kind of leads into a good start, and then we're up 2-0 after, it's things snowball one way or another really, really fast. So the clear of the mind, the ability to reset, ability to understand, like, hey, sure, we've lost 3 or 4 or whatever, and we're coming off a back-to-back, but like today could be the difference, and I think that you always can say that, but I think we truly lived it last year. So, hopefully maybe that'll reset us a little bit, or we're able to, keep momentum going when things are going good. Able to have a clearer focus.
You mentioned at the end of last year the process of guys kind of recognizing and embracing their roles as over the course of the season. I'm curious how you've seen that sort of pick back up with the new year.
Yeah, I think every time you come into training camp, coaches have a good idea of what they want to do. I think it is always a time for some internal competition and kind of see where things shake out. There's definitely some of that, and how everything ends up fitting together will be obviously something that the coaches spend a lot of time on, and but at the same time, I think there is a little bit just some consistency with the lines that we've seen so far, and that leads to certain deployment of certain lines and how that's treated, special teams, all that. So I think you're kind of getting a feel of some consistency from the coaches, but I'm sure they have, obviously they talk all summer about what their plans are for each preseason game and each, line combination that they want to see. And as you saw last year, they can change fast with injuries or, hitting the blender button and kind of moving some pieces around. So I think you're getting a little bit of an idea of how it's going to go, and what type of matchups and all that. But there is that ever-changing internal competition that things can move around for sure.
As a group of forwards, what can you guys do to help contribute to reducing goals against?
I think managing the puck is probably the first thing. That's probably. I mean, that's an area for every team. The Florida Panthers are saying, we want to not turn it over. And they did a very good job of that, and they won the Stanley Cup. Edmonton's probably saying the same thing. The reason we didn't win was because we didn't manage the puck. I mean, that is the one thing all 32 NHL head coaches are saying nonstop during training camp. So that's easy, number one. Number two, be disciplined. I don't think we took that many penalties last year, but you can always take less. And then just being a little bit more responsible in our own zone, maybe winning another face-off, maybe, just being a hair sharper on some assignments and some switches or whatever it is. So, I think that, it is a continuation of last year, but it's also a new team. So we also need to take, every team saying that, but, we want to include the confidence that we built at the end of last year, but it is a new team, and have to put a new identity for ourselves. And a lot of time that can be like forechecking and holding on to pucks down low. Like the best way to play good defense is by, not letting the other team have the puck. So, there's so many different ways, but managing pucks is probably going to be first.
Individually, is that those areas where you want to see your game this season, or where do you see that for your expectations?
I think for me, I'm trying to be as just solid as possible defensively. Make good reads. Don't turn pucks over. Manage the puck. Be really hard to play against. I think that's kind of, from what you're seeing in the lines, a little bit of probably going to get some heavy matchups here early. And then once we're in the offensive zone, get to the net. Try and create a little bit of space for my line mates. Create a little bit of offense, but can't do it by cheating, can't do it by hoping. It's got to be pretty genuine and pretty, just doing all the right things, and that's how it's going to come.
What do you try to get out of these exhibition games? You'll probably play like 4 of them here next week. I mean, conditioning or timing or what?
Timing for sure. I think just getting in puck battles against, not your buddy a little bit. And just the flow of the game, the TV timeouts, just the warm-ups, get your routine going. There's a lot of that. So nothing to take for granted. It's you're getting a chance to play an NHL preseason game, and hopefully, obviously, I've played with my 2 line mates for a little while now, but hopefully we can hit the ground running.
It wasn't the busiest offseason ever, but was there a move you saw that for this team that felt like a missing piece or that really kind of got your attention?
No, it seems kind of like everyone that went out someone came in with a similar type skill set a little bit. Losing some of the guys that we lost is, wish we would have found a way to, have them around. Obviously, there's larger decisions, but as people, they were great to have around. But yeah, all the new guys, I think they fit in really well. We've already had a couple team building, a little trip on the way up to Traverse City. We did some stuff in Traverse City, so I think everyone feels pretty comfortable around the room right now. And I don't know if there's one in particular. I think they each kind of bring something different, and kind of the whatever we lost going out is kind of coming back in a little bit. And but yeah, I feel really comfortable with the lineup that we're looking at as of right now. And like I said, things are always changing, so feel good about the steps that just in the few times that I've been on the ice with Danny, Simon, Casper, and Mazer. They look good.
Probably saw a lot of Tarasenko in the Central Division, right? I mean,
Yeah, I played against Vladdy a bunch of times. Yeah,
tough
yeah,
matchup.
yeah. I mean, he's a good player. Like, he can put the puck in the net at any time. One of those guys you got to worry about at any point getting a shot off. So, interested to pick his brain a little bit more as the season goes on and talk to him and see kind of what he does on a daily basis and in game and all that.
When you played against him, one of the things that you remember about like PKM is the way he can be that threat to either drive through you or like what's it like playing against him? If you can kind of give me a little
Sorry,
bit-
Vladdy?
Yeah, like just
Well, he's stronger than he's heavy on his stick, heavy in the corners, like more than maybe you would think. And then you give him any time and space, like he can rip it. He's a good passer. Can play off the rush. Can play ozone possession a little bit, kind of like I said. So yeah, it's definitely and I think there's some versatility in those top 6 wingers of kind of who left and right and who can play where and with who and all that. So interested to see how it all shakes out. And but yeah, from playing against him for a long time, he can kind of do a little bit of everything on the wing.
The other day, Derek talked about how the best-led teams have accountability kind of enforced through the players instead of the coaching staff. And I'm curious, as a leader on this team, how do you sort of build the trust and credibility with the room to be able to do that?
I think number one is it's for example, if whoever makes a turnover or whatever, and the coach is gonna yell at him, you kind of got to be there for him, because at some point it might be you yelling at him, but he's got to know that you care about him too. And I think that's from the little things that we've done in Traverse City, back here on the way up, where there's a little bit of there's more than just a relationship as coworkers or teammates a little bit. You kind of got to know that the guy genuinely cares about you, and the reason he's saying whatever is because, one, it's going to be best for the team, and two, it's probably going to be best for them to learn that lesson, and they'd maybe rather hear it from a player than a coach if the coach allows that trust from whoever. So that's the number one thing, is that you can't come down on them like I'm above you or anything like that. You gotta kind of say it in a way where it's there's a lot of love in the group, and we have a great group, and everyone is, a good person and gets along and all that, but that the genuine level of care needs to come first.
Is that something you had to, I guess, learn as a leader over time?
Yeah, I think, definitely. It's kind of having that relationship with everyone in the room too. There's obviously certain guys that you're closer with, you played with longer or whatever, but being able to reach out to any part of the room is really important. And I think, for me, I think I learned that most from football. Is there's hockey, a lot of the people were kind of from similar backgrounds with me, and I think football broadened that horizon a lot, and was able to have a relationship with a lot of people that had different backgrounds from me, and I think that that was a really important part in my leadership growth.
just your second camp here, preseason, but how much higher is your comfort level now this time around?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think just comfort with the systems and everything, and then as well as just knowing all the guys and knowing all the older guys and all the staff and everything like that. So definitely feels a little bit more comfortable this year, and not as much just kind of taking it day by day as last year. But yeah, I'm feeling comfortable and confident.
Patrick Kane compared you to Connor Bedard in some ways, and I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Connor's a pretty special player, and I mean, it's cool to hear a compliment from Patrick Kane. He's obviously someone I look up to, and I mean, just having him here is someone I try to kind of pick his brain and see what he thinks and what he likes to do and stuff like that. But that's yeah, it's a nice compliment, I guess.
What does it feel like when you hear veterans like Patrick Kane say that? I mean, they believe in you. What does that feel like for you to have that sort of nod of confidence from these guys who've been in the NHL for years?
Yeah, I mean, especially from Patrick Kane. I mean, he's a guy that I grew up watching, and he's kind of like Sidney Crosby to me. Like, he's someone that I grew up watching and idolizing. And I mean, I think I've watched his shootouts thousands of times, and so it's cool to hear him give me a compliment. And I mean, definitely gives you a little bit of a confidence boost just hearing him say something like that about you.
How do you feel your game has grown over the past season?
I think just the game as a whole has grown. I don't think there's one area that's really sticked out. I mean, I think the summer was good for me and put some weight on, and I thought I got stronger. So I think that's something that will help me this year.
How much do you notice that even just in practices being stronger, what difference that makes?
Yeah, I think like especially in the corners and stuff with some of these D-men, we got a lot of big D-men, so I think just the extra couple pounds definitely makes a big difference and helps with winning battles and just little things like that.
We were talking to Michael the other day, and he said you're pretty close to scratch on the golf course. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm all right. I played quite a bit back home.
Yeah, he said he was at a 17. You're at a +4. Is that fair, handicap-wise? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, we beat some of the guys pretty bad, so I think they were just complaining a bit. But yeah, he was fun, and it was nice to get to know him a bit away from the rink, and he's an awesome kid. So I mean, he's one of the funniest people I've ever met.
When you're talking to another guy who has that first round pick expectation, do you guys ever talk about that? Just because it comes in, it leads to more people talking about you, leads to expectations. Do you ever talk to another player about that who's also dealing with, hey, I was a first round pick, my name comes up a lot, things like that?
Like as far as just like expectations people
yeah,
have?
just like maybe, or how do you maybe the way you block it out or like deal with it or anything like that? Because I'm sure everyone deals with it differently. Yeah,
I mean, I think he's a pretty driven kid, and I think just like myself, it's just once you get on the ice, it's kind of just hockey, and I mean, I don't think a lot of us pay too much attention to expectations and what people say about us or whatever. I think it's just when you get on the ice, you're just having fun and doing what you love, and I mean, he's out there till the end of every practice, and I think he's just having fun doing what he loves.
Do you and Bedard still keep in touch? I don't remember if you guys were kind of friendly or not. I mean, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll talk in the summer a little bit, and we're still decent friends, but when hockey comes, not friends.
I mean, you weren't surprised by what he accomplished last year, right? I mean,
no, I mean he's a special player, and I mean I think his work ethic just kind of speaks for itself and what he's able to do.
You're a week into camp now. What have you taken away so far from 6 or 7 practices?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming to this camp, you can kind of just tell it's a different feeling around the room, and expectations are a lot higher this year. And I think everyone from Newsy's starting it out for us, and I think just everyone, all the staff have kind of just been higher expectations, and you can tell the intensity is a lot higher this year, and it just has a different feel to it.
You had such a strong preseason last year at this time. Like, how does that help you, and how do you kind of build on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think just gives me confidence going into the games, knowing I can be a difference maker, and I think it just comes down to it, just knowing that just go out there and play my game and be confident, and yeah, I think just do what I can do, and we'll see where it goes.
For somebody like you who's competing for a roster spot here in these preseason games, do you kind of have to not try to do too much and just kind of play your regular game?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously my goal is to make the team, so I think you can kind of fall into that area where you kind of almost try to force it a little bit too much and do a bit too much. So, I mean, I think I just try to go out there and play my game and just stick to what I'm good at, and I think that'll be good for me.
Talking to Mays last night, he spoke about how he's really looking and leaning on Larkin and Raymond just in terms of growth for his game. Is there any veterans that you're kind of looking at, or someone that's taken you under your wing?
I mean, I don't know if it's really like one person, I'd say, but I mean, Larks, I think I look up to him just as he's a centerman. I think I kind of play similar to him, as just a complete two-way centerman. So I think he's someone I look up to, and just try to kind of watch whenever you're on the ice with him. And I think his compete too. He's someone who every practice, he doesn't care what it is. If it's just game at the end of practice, he wants to win. And so he's someone I definitely like to look up to and watch.
You're obviously playing against pros now, whether it's here or Grand Rapids for the first time. Besides bigger players, faster players, is there any other adjustments that you're kind of having to anticipate here?
No, I mean, I think I got a little bit of a good taste of it last year, going to GR for a couple of games, and I mean, I think that's kind of what it is. It's just a lot bigger, stronger, faster guys, and I think it's just something you kind of got to get used to, and I think preseason helps you a lot with just kind of getting into that speed of the game.
Derek talked about how different Marco looks this year from where he was at this time last year. What do you notice when you're out there with, I know you haven't been in his group the last couple, but what do you notice?
Yeah, he looks good. I think he got a little bit bigger this summer as well, and I think we're obviously pretty good buddies, and we've talked about it, and he just I remember last year he was saying he didn't feel as comfortable on the smaller ice, and I think having that year in GR was definitely big for him to get used to it, and just used to the North American style of game. So he looks really good, and it's looking forward to seeing how he does this year.
Thanks.
Thank you.